is happening, friends? So I was getting ready to go home for the night, checking the feed and everything, and I want to talk to y'all tonight about television. So they talk about how each generation is different from the one before, and like how with the woke culture, we were raised in the '90s to joke with everyone equally, to pick on each other. That was, I don't know, that was how we joked. That was how you toughened each other up. And nobody got mad. Nobody got hurt feelings. Everyone got along. We were over that crap. So, how did we get to where we're at now? Look at the media. And people say that they're not influenced by the media, but you are, whether you realize it or not. So, you could have a certain opinion about something and go watch a movie that has subtle hints or subtle undertones about that topic in it, or shows that topic from someone else's perspective, and you'll come away from it like, oh, well, I didn't think about it like that. All right, so look at the generation that was raised on Sanford and Son, All in the Family, the Jeffersons. That was the ones that raised us and made us the way we were. And then even on MTV and stuff in the '90s, that was what we grew up with. And that's what influenced us, whether we realize it or not. And so that's why it's so important to stay in the Bible, to keep your eyes and your ears are like gates to the soul. And what you're putting into it is what's going to be coming back out of it. It's like you're feeding your spirit just like you're feeding your flesh. So, for example, they asked an Amish community years ago why homosexuality wasn't that prevalent in the Amish communities. And he said, that is not something that's even introduced as a thought. So it's just inconceivable why you would, think about doing something like that. See, that's how sin starts. Sin starts as a thought. Every time, I mean, that's, if you had never been taught to do something, you wouldn't even have thought to do it. Like, yeah, there's certain things like telling a lie. Most people have told a lie. I'd say everybody's told a lie. But when it comes to shooting somebody, that's not a thought you would have, just right off the top of your head, if you had never seen it, if you'd never been around it, if, that was not something that had been taught to you that you could do. But when you're seeing it on TV, you're seeing people murder, you're seeing people cheat on their spouses. If you're in a home that doesn't accept that kind of thing, that doesn't teach that kind of thing, you're not reading material that promotes that kind of thing, you're less likely to think to do it in your own marriage. You're less likely to think to do that in your own life. You know what I'm saying? So we know that most of our technology is coming out of DARPA, and you may as well say anything coming out of DARPA is being weaponized and used against us. We know that the CIA and the military has their hand all in Hollywood. I mean, that's a well-known fact that, Operation Mockingbird, we've had assets in media from the get-go. Why do you think that, the Queen Knights, the Rolling Stones, and Elton John, remember, when in the 60s when the rock bands came over here, they called it the British invasion. Just like they call this the American experiment. Think about the words that they use. People are not paying attention. People are not thinking. And that's what that's what the media is used for. It's used for societal control. And you think that you're impervious to it, but you know that if it's being shown to you, they have an agenda behind it. I mean, look at all the news stories we've seen now where they, just 33 this, 33 that, 30 million this, 30, not 30 million, 33 million. There's 33s everywhere. 322, the Skull and Bones number, they put that everywhere. And it's coded messages. And another thing that people don't think about, back to the topic of The idea is being implanted into your mind. So back when Elon Musk first started talking about Neuralink, everybody wigged out, especially the Christian community. Wigged out. They have slow leaked Elon Musk to you through every TV show. He was on SNL, he was on Rick and Morty. They, shoved him in your face everywhere and then slow leaked him to you and attached him to MAGA and have gotten MAGA to embrace everything that they were once, denying, that they were once saying was the devil. Yuval Noah Harari said that humans were hackable creatures, and everyone said, oh, they're chipping us. No, we're hackable creatures because you are controlled by your external situation. You're being controlled by what you're being told, the lines that they're feeding you. That's what shapes your reality. That's what shapes your perception of reality. So things that you once thought were unthinkable, things that you once would have had riots in the streets over, they can bring it up on TV and everybody wigs out, everybody pitches a fit, and they back off a little bit, back off the pedal. But they never, they never lose any ground. They just don't gain any more for a little bit. And then they'll have a very special episode of something on TV and make you think about it a little bit more. Or they'll put it into a movie and then they'll come out with a new story again. Oh, they've advanced this far. They've advanced further than that, but they cannot tell you because you'd pitch a fit. You'd wig out. So they slow leak this stuff to you and get you primed for what they're planning, for what's to come, for what they're about to release. Because the human mind cannot fathom how far advanced they've gotten in this technology. And this is from stuff that they're telling us. You can read stories where they're talking about the quantum computing, they're talking about the digital twins. These phones know more about you than any other human being could ever even think about. I mean, that's where we're at right now. And that's, if you know that something's being weaponized against you, why use it? Like, there's CIA reports, there's DARPA reports where they have used these psychological campaigns against us. Yet we continue to use the tools that they're using against us. Like, you know that this is what the tools are for, so why do you continue to consume this crap? And people say, oh, well, that's too much, too big of a conspiracy. Somebody would have told about it. Well, for one, they're telling you themselves. For two, it's easy to have useful idiots, for one. We're starting a whole nother 1, 2, 3. So, when it comes to the celebrities, for example, I would say you have some of them that are MK Ultra, right off the rip. You have some of them that are agents that are controlled opposition. It's like Lenin said, the most effective way to lead the opposition is to control it ourselves. So, pretty much anyone in media is controlled. Now, whether it is through blackmail, whether it is through financial means, whether it's because they want the power, they want the fame, they want, whatever reason it is, everybody has a price, and they are getting everybody to play the role just by whatever your vice is. They know everything about you. They can come to you and say, oh, we know about this, so if you don't do this, we're telling everybody. Or, hey, we know that you need X amount of money, so we need you to do this. Now, you have some that do join the club because they want to advance. They want to get further up in their career. They're not satisfied with just being this or, just being that. They have to be the best. They have to be not just a one-hit wonder. They've got to get up on the charts. So, whereas it was, at first you were just doing it for whatever reason, now you're getting more involved. That's when you start joining the clubs. That's when you start joining the secret societies and everything else. And once you start, you can't go back. It's like that. I can't remember Alton Childs, the guy that won the X Factor, and he did like a 5 hour documentary talking about Freemasonry and the occult, and showing different murders that were conducted by the cult. Where people were wanting to come out that they had gone too far and they're not going to let you come back out. And you got your Jay-Z's and Beyonce's and Diddy's. I mean, Diddy and Epstein, that's all either one of those were blackmail operations. And probably, mostly run by Mossad, the CIA. That's why Hefner had the tunnels that led out from Playboy Mansion. That's why you have pictures of Bill Cosby and all these, Jack Nicholson and all these people at Playboy Mansion. They were getting blackmail on them. That's why they were there to begin with. Like, we'll let you do this thing, or we'll let you have this role, but, we got to get this on you. That way, if you don't do what we tell you to, we got something to hold over your head. So, like, we know all of these things. All of these things are proven facts. They're not conspiracy theories. They are conspiracies. It doesn't matter what, the lower level people's motives are. We know that all of this is being weaponized and used against us. So if you do consume media, whether it is a TV show or whether it is music, listen to the lyrics of some of the stuff that you're listening to. And see, a lot of people don't know that when they would do rituals, the rituals usually pertained of a specific beat being played repeatedly and chanting, different verses over and over and over again. What is music? What are you listening to? What are you singing? And a lot of these songs, like if you go through and pull out the guitar, you can use AI now and pull out, isolate this, isolate that, isolate the vocals. If you isolate some of these beats, there's beats playing low level in the background that when you hear them alone make absolutely no sense. They do not go along with the rhythm of the song. Like, it's just weird beats. And then what Rockefeller did, changing the hertz that they produce music at, it's all effective on you. So think about the words that you're chanting over and over and over again when you're singing these songs. What are you speaking over yourself? What doors are you opening? Oh, well, you're taking it too far. You're crazy. Do you believe your Bible or not? At what point do you say, I believe my Bible, it's God's word, and this is what's going on. The Bible tells you this is what's going on. They tell you this is what they're doing. So how many more excuses are going to have to be made, Wake up to what is being perpetrated against you. Wake up to the attacks that are being slammed against you. Because what they call psychological, they need SSRIs because of, chemical imbalances and psychological issues. The vast majority of it is spiritual attack. And it's doorways that we've opened. It's like, who was it? The king in the Old Testament that was trying to attack the Israelites and couldn't because God's hand of protection was on them. And he figured out that he could get them to curse themselves and open those doorways for him to attack. It would remove God's hedge of protection. So he would put prostitute, tempt them with these things to lower God's hedge of protection. And we're accepting all of this stuff. We're not just accepting it, we're speaking it over ourselves. We're pulling it into our lives. We're paying to have it put into our lives. I mean, and it's time to wake up and realize it. I mean, and you share this stuff online and you claim that you believe all this stuff, but you don't show it. Like, if you know that all these foods are being weaponized against you, that all this processed food is being weaponized against you, vote with your dollar. Put these companies out of business or make them change what they're feeding you. You're being poisoned mentally and physically and spiritually. And at the end of the day, the only ones that can do anything about it is us. And, oh, you're so black-pilled, you're so doomer, you don't offer any answers. I've got an answer. Stop giving them your money. If everybody would boycott it, everybody that's paying attention, oh, people have to eat, pay, get other food. Just stop supporting the companies that are trying to poison you. They'll change their tune pretty quick because they can't afford to lose that money. That's like all these companies that are doing things to harm us. You're talking about child labor. Quit buying Nikes. If you want to see real change, talk a third of the truckers into just laying out of work for the day. They would be calling every one of those guys immediately. What do we have to do to get y'all to come? Because they can't afford a third of the truckers to quit for a day or 2 days because it would shut things down. You have way more power and way more control than you realize you do. But as long as they can keep everybody divided over stupid stuff like race, like gender, like all these little subcategories that they have split you into through the media, as long as they can keep us divided against each other, we won't band together and stick up for anything. And if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. That's something for y'all to ruminate on. I love y'all. I hope y'all have a good night. What is up, Cindy LJ? I see you in the chat, and tell your mother I said hello. I hope everyone has a blessed night. If you would like to check out any of my channels, links are in the description. If you would like to donate to the channel, help us out, those links are in the description too. And I look forward to seeing y'all next time.